Grand Rising. So you have to understand that the system wants you sick. The system doesn't want you healthy and vibrant and operating at a high frequency, which is why, frequency and vibration is so crucial. And that's why I named my academy Frequency X Academy, right? Because it's about frequency and being the academy. But what a lot of people don't seem to grasp is that no one's out there to save you. The government's not gonna do it for you. Your parents are not gonna do it for you. Your neighbors are not gonna do it for you. Nobody's there to save you. You have to do this yourself. So if you want to become healthy, and if you want to clean up this vessel, and not go for these hardcore solutions that, in my opinion, also only work in the short run, such as peptides and stuff, if you haven't built the proper foundation, right? I think there's a place for them, but first you have to do the same thing that I'm talking about anyways, right? Because again, if you just inject something and you pour the solution from the top, then you haven't worked through the problem itself, right? You haven't gotten rid of the problem itself, and you're just delaying and amplifying the issue and the symptom that will arise. And what happens is when we push out that date where something might occur in the body, when we push out that occurrence and that symptom, that can be with regular Western medicine approaches, such as, let's say we give kids a fever medicine and we lower the fever instead of letting the fever do its job, right, which it's intended for, and we cut that process short. What that means is that whatever needed to leave the body, whatever needed to be worked through by the body and the system, is simply being pushed to the side, and it will come up later and harder and stronger for that child, right? So in rare cases it makes sense to lower the fever when it's like super high, but we kind of learned, and we've come to this place in our society where kid has fever, straight away you give him a pill, lower the fever right away, put him back into kindergarten, put him back into school. He cannot stay at home because the parent has to work, right? This is what we're facing these days. And if you look around, this is what happens, right? And this is just one example with the fever, but I think you understand the point. The point is that the same thing in a different way is happening when you're just treating symptoms all the time as an adult, and you're not going for the root of the problem, that you're just treating symptom after symptom, and then with that treatment you get another side effect, and with that side effect you get another symptom, and then you treat with another drug, over-the-counter drug or something else from the pharmacy, and then that's the cycle, that's perpetual cycle that gets you even more into sickness and dis-ease, right? Because that's what it is, it's dis-ease and out of balance, off center, right? The stuff that I mentioned many times. So there will be that point in time where the pain is going to be so big, and you cannot ignore it anymore, and there won't be anything that will help you in that moment in time, because you know it's a structural problem, it's a system problem, it's a foundational problem, right? And you will need to reevaluate everything that you've been doing, right? And this is what happened to me. This point in time came to me probably 8 years ago was that phase, right? And I was forced to look at everything I was doing. I took a proper look in the mirror, and then I decided, okay, this was it, I have to change. And it took a few years, right, to get everything out of the system, to get everything reorganized and, you know, put properly into place again. But it's possible, right? But what I'm saying here is, don't wait for that moment when you really have to do it, you know, because it's so much harder. Like, you have that pressure on the one hand, and then you're knocked out on the other. You cannot do what you want to do on a daily basis, you know, you cannot do your job, you cannot take care of your children, like whatever it is, right? This is like the last resort type of situation which you don't want to be in, because it's not necessary, right? Like, you know that you need to do something right now. I can guarantee you that you need to start working on your vessel, on your body. You need to start working on you know, everything that I talk about all the time, because it's just the fact that you're exposed to these toxins and these toxic compounds on a daily basis, right? So it's inevitable that you need to get rid of that, and just your healthy lifestyle and the sauna once or twice maybe per week and the gym is not going to do it, you know. Sadly, that's not enough anymore. The you know, the problem is with these exposures that we're facing is that it's just everywhere these days. You know, these toxins are everywhere, and we cannot simply think that the body is capable of, you know, getting rid of it by itself, because it just cannot do it, you know. Like, one example is, you know, heavy metals, for example. When the body, you know, notices there's something entering the system, it pushes it to the side, it pushes it to a place where it's not dangerous to the organs and to the vital you know, parts of the body. So it stores it in a tissue, it stores it in the fat, right? So it pushes it to the side. Super smart, right? So you can still function. And those places that the body puts them in, the liver cannot reach it, the kidneys cannot reach it, none of your, you know, regular detox pathways can get there. And so it's stored there, and it just accumulates over the years, right? This is why you don't notice certain, you know, accumulation of certain toxic compounds for many years, right? Because the body is so smart and so intelligent that it puts it to these places where you're good, where you can still operate. But it accumulates and accumulates, and there will be that point in time where it's just too much, okay? And this point in time sometimes doesn't occur up until, you know, 10, 15, 20 years into your adult life, sometimes even later, right? So don't just assume that because you feel fine, you know, that there's nothing to work on. Just let me tell you that there is. You know, that's not to put fear in you. I'm not that type of person, right? Like I don't give a shit about fear, to be honest, right? But this is just to, you know, give you perspective, and it's a fact, right? Like, this is not some woo-woo you know, bullshit that I made up myself. This is actual science, right? But what what I'm trying to say here is, even though you feel fine right now, even though you feel good, you will need to get to this topic eventually, and you will need to work on this eventually, you know. I mean, just look at the increase in Alzheimer's and all these neuro diseases these days, right? Like, it's just through the roof. And you know, we're just, you know, as a human race, we're just eating the wrong things, you know. On average, we are not moving enough. Our lifestyles, they, you know, are more sedentary. We just don't live outside anymore as well, right? Like, we're exposed to these EMFs and these vibrations and frequencies from the wrong light sources, and you know, we're in front of screens all day, and then there's, you know, plenty of these vaccinations as kids, and later on as well, you know, which doesn't help. And there's so many things that we're doing wrong, and just not enough that we're doing right. And so, yeah, the system, you know, if you just look around you, because that was my initial reason for this video, the system does not want you to think about these things, right? It's just constantly bombarding you with the bullshit, right? With the distractions, with the unnecessary daily things, right? Like, just sit in front of your TV, eat your fucking McDonald's, and shut the fuck up and pay your taxes, right? Like, this is the goal, you know? Create a robot, let's say, that's, you know, still able to work, still able to pay the taxes, but not as high functioning as to, you know, reach that level where you start questioning things, right? Where that brain is actually thinking. You know, just look around you and just have a think about this. Like, how many people don't question anything anymore, right? Like, everything that they're being taught in school is the status quo, right? Like, this is it. And it's normal to pay 30% taxes, 50% taxes, you know. And in Germany and in Western European countries, you probably, you know, give about 75 to 80% of your salary to the government at the end of the month, right? Like, that's included all the other taxes that are hidden and that are, you know, just packaged in a different way. But, you know, just income tax is 40%, 45%, in some cases even 50%. And this is just accepted as normal, right? And then we see what they're doing with, you know, these funds in a way, and they're increasing their, you know, war budget, let's say, the security budget, just buying weapons and investing into, you know, these companies that supposedly defend your country and they defend your families and stuff. But from what are they trying to defend you from? You know, just they have a think. Like, all these narratives, they're just ridiculous these days, you know, that they just don't work anymore. I mean, how often have they lied to you? How often have you been given the actual proof that they were lying about whatever they were doing, and again you're falling for it, again you're believing their bullshit, you know? Like, just be rational for a moment and, you know, have a think. Like, how often, if someone, like, let's say if someone in your family, okay, lies to you for 2 or 3 times drastically, you know, about something that is quite crucial, will you actually believe them the next time? Will you actually believe what they're saying once again, after they've proven to you that they lied to you? why are you behaving differently with the government and with these agencies and all these different government bodies that decide for your health and that they decide for your life and that they decide for your way of operating and how you have to show up in this world and stuff, right? Like, why do you believe these humans? Because they clearly showed you that they don't give a fuck about you, okay? They showed you. And they showed you over and over, and still you believe in them. So just have a think. I hope this made sense, right? It is it's time to get going. Doesn't matter how old you are and what your issues are. You know, there's the stuff that I'm, putting together in these programs. It's for everyone, right? That's why I'm doing it. It's because it will help everyone. It will help you on your journey. It will help whoever else is in your family on their journey, because it's just the basics, okay? All right.